Hey, everybody, as promised, Dan has been at practice. Welcome into the best Dan pod in the land. Subscribe now. Be part of that first 500. Win a $50 gift card to Buckeye Corner. We're going to do a randomizer, and I promise you'll get it. So, anyways, Dan, besides being sun beaten, how are you?
I'm good, man. I am exhausted. I will tell you that much. It really takes it out of you just standing there and watching for 3 hours for 2 days in a row. But no, I mean I drove up from Nashville on Wednesday, got to the practice on around 8:30.
Yep.
They pretty much start rolling out around 8:45 or 9. Really starts going around 9:15 or 9:30. And then it goes nonstop for
Very interesting.
and
Okay.
Thursday was it was hot. But got to see Doreen and her husband Darren out there on Thursday. Our boy Terry was there.
Terry. College football stop. Yep.
Yep. And then I met Anon, I think is how you say his name.
Yep.
He had tremendous updates and summaries and videos and pictures going all day at practice on Twitter, which they changed. Thursday was kind of loosey-goosey with the pictures and the video, and then they were pretty much on high alert today, and they told us it was basically after the warm-up sessions, the individual sessions, they didn't want any pictures or video, and they were really adamant about it. So,
well, that would explain your reply to me when I was like, "Where's the videos?"
Yeah,
or pictures. Maybe I asked you for pictures.
They are definitely paranoid. I had a few people joke with me about getting some, specialized Google glasses that apparently exist out there, and I said, you know what, man, if I showed up with Google glasses on and they saw that little blue light like there was on the Central Michigan sideline, they would take me into the middle of the field and let each player take a turn beating me to death.
Probably.
They're so paranoid.
So this is that I have to tell you this. So like I text you about a little bit about it, but I was in Michigan. I was in the state of Michigan. I was near Kalamazoo and on a lake, and I was talking to, like, Michigan fans just approached me because I'm always in my Ohio State gear, and so the one guy literally told me, he's like, well, that wasn't a blue light, it was a reflection off the lens, and it was an intern that worked for CMU. And I'm like, then why are they not allowed to say who he was, and why is the NCAA investigating them? And he's like, oh, well, it's just probably part of the process. And I'm like, okay, all right. Yeah, like, stick your head further into the sand, man, because yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
Since you brought it up, Central Michigan, a day before breaking fall camp, fired their quarterback coach, who worked on the Harbaugh staff as an intern for 4 years, and was known to be good friends with Connor. And apparently there is video evidence of him handing the Central Michigan gear and lanyard through a gate to Connor to get him in there.
All right,
going to be in the NOA.
It's all going to come out. It's all going to come out. I want to stick to practice though, because I told you I have a ton of stories from being in Michigan and just wearing my Ohio State gear. So like I could do a whole show on just the people that I talked to.
Yeah.
And like we talked about, like 70% of them are just not realistic at all, like about what's happening, and 30% of them were like, yeah, but even if they do that, I saw them win. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Be that way.
And I know we're going to transition here, but let's just put something in perspective here, right? The University of Kentucky,
oh yes,
just vacated wins over 2 seasons because 11 players were paid for work that they never completed.
Yep.
So this notion that the NCAA does not vacate wins anymore is nonsense.
Yeah. No, I saw that. I want to say 11 players were involved, and eight were the ones that they ended up, like, I don't know, whatever, confirming that they had the inappropriate stuff. But yeah, it's we'll see. I'm struggling a lot because when Jim McElveen said that they're cooperating with the investigation and it's still ongoing, that tells me that like we aren't that close to an NOA yet, or as close as we thought. But maybe he just had to say that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well, I talked with somebody today that told me the NOA's been issued and that it's been kept quiet. I don't know if I buy that.
It's public, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure it's a public university, therefore it's a public document. The NCAA. I've never seen the NCAA not issue a statement when an NOA has been issued. So,
well, I thought the NCAA.
Take it for what it's worth.
I thought you could find the NOA on their NCAA's website too. Yeah, I thought you could go find the actual PDF document.
I don't think it's been issued yet.
Okay.
Misinformation.
All right. So practice wise, one of the reports I got from, I think Terry posted this or talked about it. So running backs are touching the ball way more than we've seen in a long time between screens, checkdowns, and handoffs. They're going to eat this year. So running backs position group, Q, Trey, Peoples, Sam Williams-Dixon. If he got any run while you were there, what do you think?
No, I mean, listen, all four of those guys look fantastic, and I'll tell you what. And I've got some pictures. I posted a couple of them this morning on Twitter of Coach Locke warming up, doing some push-ups, just cranking out like 250 push-ups real quick.
That guy's delts, man, and traps.
And then him running the running backs through their individual teach session. Listen, he said at his press conference that the running back position was one of the, one or two worst coached positions in college football, that it's just, a lot of people just think you don't really need to do much to teach it. He goes, that's not me. I teach our guys. I coach our guys. Coach Locke's not a liar. He is intense. He is demanding. He is encouraging. There's no way those players can't not like playing for him.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example. Trey had to take a lap. I think Tim May is the one that posted about this.
Okay.
Trey had to take a lap for, I don't know what it was, a botched fumble, missed assignment, whatever. He did something wrong. He had to take a lap around the field.
Okay.
And he ran by Tim May and he said, hey, listen, he goes, this is what happens when you're not disciplined. Be disciplined in your life. That was Trey's message as he was, being punished.
Okay. All right. I can dig that
for a detail. So it was pretty awesome to see.
Okay. I think it was Matt Parker. So I'll give Matt Parker the credit for this, that he had said, he had a picture of Quinshon Judkins, and he said he moves differently than every other running back on the field. So did you get to see him up close?
Yeah, man. I mean, I was within feet of him.
Okay.
And I saw all their drills, everything that they did, both, breakout sessions, individual sessions, everything. He's special, man. But let me tell you something. I mean, Trey moves differently, but he also moves in a way that a lot of other people don't. I mean,
fair.
They're so good, man. I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but just like they're elite. They're hard workers, and they're running hard, and that whole room is really deep. One note of interest. I mean, Peoples looks like a man.
Yeah, he's a man child, dude.
Sam,
his arms.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Williams-Dixon is legit. He's going to get some run. He broke off one or two really nice runs today. But they had the walk-on, the kid from I'm drawing a blank. I don't have the roster in front of me. Zanesville, Cisse.
Okay, yeah.
True freshman walk-on.
Yes.
His legs were like, I swear, I thought it was Peoples at first, and then I saw Peoples. I'm like, Peoples is smaller than that guy, but he's listed as a DB on the roster, but probably because of the depth issues, he was over with the running backs in their individual drills.
I want to say, don't quote me, please don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure he was an athlete. I think he played at both.
He was like, I think he was a runner-up for Mr. Ohio.
Okay, yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Probably. So I kind of want to stay on the offensive side of the ball. So zone 6. So this was Adam King. So he said that Zone 6 immediately after practice went in and hit the jugs machine. Did you get to catch that piece at all?
I mean, you can't see inside the Woody when you're there, but I saw the same report, and I know that they were in there working out. A lot of people, I think, Devon was on the field. I think he was the last guy. He was the last offensive guy off the field the first day, and I think the same thing again today. A lot of guys sticking around and putting some extra work, both out on the field as well as in the Woody. So let me kind of give you the lay of the land, right?
Sure.
So over at the Woody, you've got 4 fields. You got 2 artificial turf fields, and you've got 2 grass fields, and they're just stacked side by side.
Yep.
So what they're practicing on the grass fields, which are the fields you walk out onto right out of the Woody.
Yes.
And then they've got a waist high barrier covered with, banners and stuff that are separating the grass fields from the turf fields. And we're allowed to go right up to that barrier and lean on the gate, fence, whatever, and watch practice. So the cool part is that the near field, like, you're right there. It's almost like you're on the sidelines.
Yeah.
The far field, you can't see anything from ground level. Tomorrow, I'm going to go, and they've got some bleachers set up behind that barrier that are maybe 8 to 10 rows high at the most. I'm going to go stand on top of the bleachers and see if I can get a look at that other field. But if I'm looking at that other field, then I'm missing what's going on this field, right? So, and the way they've got the team split up, there's not like 1s and 2s on the offensive side anyways.
Okay.
On the offensive side, they've got them split up like they did last year, and they're doing split reps. So they'll have 2 quarterbacks on one field, 3 quarterbacks on the other. They've got like Josh Simmons and Donnie Jackson. They went everywhere together. But then the other side of the offensive line was on the other field, with that unit.
So were they running with
the receivers were split up, the running backs were split up.
Okay. All right.
Like, it wasn't 1s and 2s. Like you had 1s and 2s mixed in with each other to make up a unit. And then you had 3s and 4s mixed together to make up another unit on each field.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
I haven't been to the WHAC since Urban Meyer was the coach, like inside of it. I was there in 2018 and went on a tour and everything, but it's been a hot second. But I can picture where you're at and what you were doing. So
yeah,
but that
now, they do bring everybody together at the end for 7-on-7s, and then some quasi live type stuff. I mean, they're not in pads yet, so
no.
You got to take a lot of these reports that are coming out of practice right now with a grain of salt, because you really can't see what the trenches are looking like. I can tell you what they look like physically.
Yeah, big.
I mean, like, Josh, Donnie, like Josh looks like a first-round NFL tackle.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Physically.
Well, I think I told you, was it me that told you when we talked last year? I thought that by the time Simmons was done, he'd play himself into at least a day 2 NFL pick. So,
yeah, I mean, if he has the type of season that they're expecting out of him, I can see him going first round. I mean, he's got every physical tool. Like, his measurables are all there.
Yeah. And
you know how NFL types get. Like, they'll fall in love with the measurables.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, I did happen, since you mentioned Devon, and we're talking about Zone 6, I have that video courtesy of Chris Drew, so that if you guys haven't seen it yet or haven't been able to see it, it's Devon Brown to Bryson Rogers for about 80 yards. So I'm going to share that now. We'll blow it up. It's a quick video. So
let me set the table. That was the last play of practice today. He was on a split field. The other guys were on a split field. The other field finished a play or 2 ahead of them. So the entire team was either on the field for that play or on the sidelines watching it. And the reaction you heard from the crowd was also the reaction from all the other players on the opposite sideline that were watching it to wrap up practice. That was an unbelievably perfect, beautiful ball.
Oh yeah, it was.
I mean, it was right down the middle. Jalen McLean had unbelievable coverage, and he did kind of. I've heard a couple people say he went for a pick. I don't think the ball wasn't pickable. I mean,
No,
pickable is that a word? I guess that's what I did
yeah.
with my nose when I was 7. It was pickable. I mean, it went over the top of Jalen, dropped into the breadbasket for Bryson in stride, 80 yards to the house.
So I'm
Beautiful,
rewatching it in slow
beautiful ball.
motion. Yeah, I'm watching it in slow motion, man. And there's like he swipes at the ball, like he tries to go over top. So
Yeah.
he's got good coverage.
I
Not
think he was
just
going for
looking
a
at.
breakup more than he was going for a
Yeah,
pick.
I don't think this ball. I don't think he could intercept it,
Mm-mm.
like on it with because his hips are turned. His hips are turned, and there's no way to get to that ball that way. But, yeah, great coverage though too. Like that was a great throw, and so that what I was going to ask you. So I watched that video, and then I was looking at some videos from. I googled some of the stuff that Devin had from high school,
Mm-hmm.
and his throwing motion looks shorter now. It doesn't have that, like,
He's
he
put
didn't
in
have
a
a
lot.
hitch, but it was.
He's put in a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
During spring break and then over the summer when they had a break, he went out and worked with Carson and Jordan Palmer in California. I think Lincoln went out there with him.
Yeah.
The reports are that he feels better than he's ever felt. He feels like he's playing better than he's ever felt. Obviously, we're spending some time on Devin just because that everybody's been talking about that last play of practice. It's not just
Sure.
us. Everybody's like, all the different podcasts and shows are talking about it and all the articles. It was just stunningly perfect. Him and Bryson.
Yep.
With that being said, I think Devin's been the most consistent these first 2 days, but he hasn't pulled away from Will and vice versa. I mean, Will, all the reports out there, and this is not us, these are other reports, 11 Warriors, Buckeye, Bucknuts, Daily Podcast, everybody. Will struggled in the first day. He was really inconsistent. He looked better than he did in the spring, but he still was very inconsistent that first day. You could probably say that about all 5 of the quarterbacks.
Okay, that's what was going to be my question.
I mean, it's the first day and 2 of fall camp after a 8 to 10 week layoff. Yes, they've been throwing together in the offseason, but still, I mean, there's some inconsistencies there. So as far as Devin goes, I mean, the pros are that I think he's got the best chemistry with the receivers. He by far has the strongest arm on the team, and he definitely is not afraid to go deep. And he's really, really good with the deep ball. He struggles a little bit with consistency with the short to intermediate stuff. But man, I wish I could watch the practice film and see if it's incorrect routes or if it's him or whatever. He did jump skip a couple balls over the last couple days, but I mean, every quarterback had some moments like that. Will is really, really good inside the numbers, about 12 to 18 yards downfield. Really good. Outside the numbers and deep, he struggles. And 4 years worth of his college career statistics and highlight films show that. He's inconsistent. Like, I'll give you an example. He threw an incredibly turnover-worthy ball down the sidelines, about 25 to 28 yards down the sideline, in between the numbers and the sideline. Jalen McLean should have picked it off. I'm shocked that he didn't. Like, it hit him right in the hands. Just poor read, poor throw, everything. And then a few plays later, he comes back in about the same distance on the opposite sideline. He hits Trey on a wheel route that was, every bit as pretty as the ball that Devin threw at the end of practice. So anybody out there who's saying that Will dominated or is far and above the best out there through the first days, it just is not being honest. Okay. Nobody's dominating. I'm not sitting here saying that somebody else is.
Yeah.
Nobody dominated the first 2 days. It's, Inconsistency is the key word. I think everybody's probably looks better than they did in the spring. You can tell they've been working really, really hard. Will's body's changed a lot.
Are they rolling same way they did in the spring? So for everybody out there that didn't get to see it, are they rolling them through?
It's probably my least favorite thing. So yesterday the order was Devon, Will, Julian, Lincoln, Air. And they basically rolled them when they were all together and going one at a time. They rolled them in that order.
Okay.
Today it was completely different. It was Will, Lincoln, Julian, Air, and then Devon was last. And they were told that going into the practice. And there's no rhyme or reason to it.
Mm.
So they roll them when they're going one at a time. They're rolling them when they're on the split field. 3 are on one field, 2 are on the other. A lot of their drills, I'll tell you, man, one of my biggest takeaways from watching the practice, and it took me back to the days of when I was coaching, because we were like this a little bit, but not to this level. I mean, they are efficient, man. They get every rep they can. They maximize the time that they're out there, and it's all about reps. They have a couple sessions where they'll actually teach and coach, but once it's like any semblance of a live situation, whether it's just skill guys or 7-on-7 or whatever, like they're maximizing the reps. And I'll give you an example. They'll go routes on air with the quarterbacks and the receivers and the running backs,
mm-hmm.
and they'll have 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a running back, so 5 guys. They'll all be running a pattern. All 5 quarterbacks are throwing on every single play to one of the 5 players, and they just rotate.
Okay,
so that each quarterback is making each of the throws a number of times. I mean, that's like a 5 to 10 minute session. And it's just rapid fire, man. They're just getting in as many reps as they can. They're uber efficient.
That's awesome. All right. I was curious about that. And then you said you got to see kind of a split squad. So you said Josh and Donnie were together, not unexpected. Were Carson and Fryer together then?
Well, so Carson Hinsman sat out the first day, apparently
that's right.
due to an illness.
Yeah.
So it was Josh Fryer and Tegra for the most part.
Okay.
We're traveling together, back and forth between the 2 fields.
That makes sense.
Seth was at center today. Carson and Seth were at center. Yesterday it was Seth and Josh Padilla were at center when Carson was out.
Yeah.
Couple interesting notes. Luke Montgomery worked with the centers today. I know why you're smiling.
Not a word, man. Not a word from this guy.
So he was working with the centers today.
I'm not the one that called it 2 years ago. I can't say anything.
A couple other things that stick out, but you don't really. I mean, like it's really, really negligent and dangerous to read anything into anything that you've seen these first.
Fair.
But with that being said, I did notice yesterday when they did routes on air, Julian or Jelani was at tight end with Emeka, JJ, and Carnell at receiver.
That's what we
Trey
expect.
Or Quinn at running back.
I'm going to be really. I mean, the wide receivers are exactly as we expected. Those three are going to be the ones that take the first rep of the season on the field, like without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. Yeah. So it's going to be Emeka, Carnell, and then Jeremiah Smith, and then I think Ennis is your 4.
There is zero doubt that Brandon Ennis is the 4th guy. Brandon Ennis has a different. He's got a juice about him. Like he's just. You can tell he's like a little kid, like that. He's exuberant. He's excitable. He, they were doing punt returns or they were fielding punts.
Mm-hmm.
They have a drill where they had like 8 or 9 guys back there fielding punts during the special session. And he would catch that ball and he'd make a little move and he'd make a spin move and he'd reverse field. Like he was playing football in the backyard, he just loves to play football. I love that about him. And he's got juice, man. Like he's got a vibe about him. He's got twitch to him. Mm-hmm. Like I'm at this point now where I'm kind of saying, okay, he needs to be our punt returner.
Okay. I can get behind that.
Now I did see some video of Caleb returning punts, but it was on the other field.
Mm.
So I didn't get to see it live. I did see a video today of it. I don't think he did that yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, but it's been, it was really cool just as a fan to see them build upon the 2 days. Like, so for instance, in that punt fielding drill yesterday, it was just, they were just catching the ball. And one example from yesterday, like JJ Smith, he had to cover about 30 to 40 yards to run down a shank.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like something out of a cartoon. Like, it was so effortless, it was so smooth, and it was so fast. He just covered that 30 to 40 yards without even blinking, caught the ball in stride, And then today to that drill, they added like a big old yoga ball, one of those Swiss yoga balls that you do like crunches and stuff, all that kind of stuff on.
Sure.
They were like rolling it at the punt returner as they were getting ready to catch it, to make them now have to. Yesterday they were focused on just catching the ball. Today they're focused on catching the ball and making their first move. So it was really neat to see them build upon each day.
Cool.
In some of the same drills.
I mean, Ryan Day's the one that said you feel it when Brandon Innes is out there. So
you do. He's not. He wasn't lying.
Yeah.
He wasn't lying.
I'm gonna bring this up just because I sent you the picture. Holy cow, Nick Baglardi. Speaking of punts, that guy looks like he should be playing in the NBA at center or something, because he I don't know who. I don't know who he was standing near, but he was like towering over whoever it was. I'm like, who the heck is that? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's McLarty.
Now, one thing I haven't seen, and they might have been working on the field behind us, but I haven't seen any field goal or kickoff stuff these first couple days.
Interesting.
Nothing at all. I am curious if that kid can kick, let's say, a 50-yarder. I mean,
Jaden Fielding's got a big leg.
He had a 75-yard punt today, 75 yards in the air.
I mean, Fielding's got a big leg. He was the kickoff specialist initially, right? When we had
but I don't think he'd be hitting. I don't think he's hitting 50-yard field goals to win a national semifinal game.
Yeah,
as time expires at midnight in the turn of the year.
Gosh. Anyways, don't make me sad. I was in a good mood. So one of the things that I paid attention to, because I'm still a member of the one community, the Buckeye community posts on X/Twitter, and they were talking about the defensive line. And one of the things that somebody must have been at camp, but he said that becoming a young player, becoming a force on the defensive line, Caden McDonald making noise. Did you see him? Did you see, what did the defensive line look like? Were they too split?
They were split, and they're not in pads. I mean, the defense in the first day, the defensive line caused havoc.
Mm-hmm.
Both day, they were split, and I'll be honest, man, my eyes were focused in the backfield.
Sure.
Most of the time. But from a physical perspective, like Edric Houston and Jason Moore were lined up next to each other.
Yeah, that picture you sent of them, my goodness. That
picture I sent you did not do justice as to how large of human beings they are.
Mm.
They are absolute units. I mean, they were monsters. And then today, a kid that I noticed running off the field in between plays, and I had to look at my roster and say, who is that? Was Eric Menza.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The kid they brought in originally committed to Virginia Tech, right?
Yeah, I think so. True freshman.
Yeah.
Defensive tackle. Huge.
Yeah.
He's somebody that I looked at and I'm like, I think he was a summer enrollee, maybe.
Yes.
I don't know if he was here. I don't think he was here in the spring. You can tell, like, he was laboring to get off the field, but he's a big boy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a wide body.
And this is widely known. So Andy Backstrom had a big article, but basically from everything I could see and read about, and I still tried to keep up on everything, even though I was on vacation, was that it was all Cody and all Sonny at linebacker. And that's the way she wrote it, unless you saw something different.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion that Cody's going to be starting at
Yeah, he's going to be
Mike.
starting at Mike. Yeah,
And then Sonny, yeah, he got the majority of the reps at will. Now they did alternate guys out. There was a lot of mixing and matching, but when the defense was lined up with their ones, it was Sonny and Cody at linebacker.
Okay. All right.
And then yeah, we're gonna make our way to the backfield, defensive backfield.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear from you because there's conflicting reports about that. So some of the reports have said that, like, don't pencil Sonny in yet. It's still neck and neck, but
it's not neck and neck.
Okay, all right. So here's the thing. They're both freak athletes, but the way that Sonny can cover, I just feel like and him already playing and then having played that nickel safety role, and now he's playing a will, which is kind of a hybrid. I don't know. I just feel like he has a leg up on Hicks because he's already played. He's played at this level
for sure.
Yeah. All right. So somebody I also heard was making noise that we haven't talked about, and so we'll go to the defensive backfield. Talk a little bit about what you saw. So I heard Jordan Hancock looks good. The DBs look good, but Malik Hartford apparently had a couple good days.
That entire position group. So I went into this worried about the depth at safety. I am no longer worried about the depth at safety.
All right. OG Walt doing his thing.
Jaden McClain has flashed.
Mm-hmm.
Bonzu has flashed. Jaden McClain's a true freshman.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Bonzu's flashed. Hartford is solid. He's in year 2.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it anymore.
Right.
Speaking of safeties.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Caleb Downs. How's Caleb Downs looking at that Buckeye jersey, man?
He's just on a different level. Like, his closing speed, his ability to identify the play and get to the ball is elite. Okay. I mean, it's just, I get it now, right? Seeing him on the field as part of an absolutely stacked defense and standing out the way that he does, it's just different. It's just different. He's an elite. He identifies so quickly. And then between that and his athletic ability, he just gets to the ball. And I think we're going to see a lot of interceptions from him this year.
Okay.
Because of the way he identifies the ball.
I wanted to ask you, now that you've seen him, and I know we've talked comparisons before, and I kind of want to retract mine because I've kind of moved more in the direction of Ed Reed for Caleb Downs after watching some of the practice video. I feel like that's probably a better comparison than anything else I could come up with right now.
Yeah. I don't know how big Ed Reed, when I think Ed Reed, I think a big guy.
He was a little bit bigger, yeah.
Caleb's not that big.
Okay.
Like I chatted with him a little bit after the first practice, and just Avery's cousin on her mother's side was his position coach in high school. And I just chatted up Caleb a little bit and shook hands with him, and made some small talk, and he's not that tall.
Okay. All right. So Ed Reed, just in case you were wondering, when he played at Miami, 5'11", 205.
I think that might be a really, really good comparison then. I didn't realize Ed Reed was that short.
Yeah.
Sean Taylor was bigger. Sean Taylor was more like 6'3", right?
Caleb Downs, 6 feet, 205.
Yeah. So great comparison, man. That might be the one. That might be the run. And what was Ed Reed known for? Ed Reed was known for identifying the play and getting to the ball.
Yeah. Picks and hits.
Yeah.
Great.
Wow. Great comparison.
Yeah. Cool. I'm excited. So I wanted to ask you too. So I wanted to ask you, text you this, but of course I had a 5-hour drive. So Davison Igbinosun, did you see him up close? And is he as big up close as he looks like on
He's a
TV.
he's a big corner.
Yeah. Is he a legit 6'3"? Like, is he really 6'3"? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you're
Him.
tall, so you're not
I'm
you could.
6 foot. Emily will
Yeah.
tell you I'm 5'11", but I'm 6. It said 6 foot in my college program, and I'm
Yeah.
sticking with that.
You're taller than I am. I feel like I've shrunk over the
Flip
years,
my,
but you got me.
flip
Yeah.
flip the hair, put it in a little bit of a faux hawk to get that
Yeah.
extra inch.
All right.
But no, man, our DBs are our secondary is so good. That's another thing to keep in mind with like some of the struggles or some of the things that might look like struggles from our quarterbacks are completely a result of our secondary. Our second and those guys came out like they're ultra competitive. Ultra competitive. Like
Okay.
they don't want to lose.
No.
They don't want to lose a single rep.
No.
And they're just so good, man. Like I mean, Aaron Scott.
Yeah. I saw he got some run.
I mean, Jermaine was playing in the nickel. He was backing up Hancock.
Yeah.
More than he was playing a DB role.
See if I
can
find
on the
this.
field that I was on.
I want to find this.
And I think some of that has to do with Aaron Scott being able to cover that other corner position.
Trying to find this quote from Jim Knowles, but basically it was about Jeremiah Smith, and he's like, he basically was complimenting Jeremiah Smith, like basically when he's on the field and they throw the ball at him, he holds his breath.
Yeah, essentially. What it was he goes, if you allow for a one-on-one situation with him, you're pretty much just holding your breath.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to be cynical and I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but it seemed like all of Jeremiah's big plays were on that far field where nobody could really see it.
Well, I mean, so listen, we know Ryan Day, and so he doesn't do anything that's unintentional. Like, so he's going to shield things, and then you add in the fact that like there was very, very clearly some issues the last couple of years with competitive advantage for other teams, and so he's probably playing his cards close to his vest. And then, like, if you've got a weapon like that, and people are talking, and there are expectations, you're probably going to shield it as much as you can, because once that, like, people are going to see what he can do anyways on Saturdays in about 29 days. So we are where we are with that. The
He's
last
a man
thing,
child, though, bro.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
I joked with people out there that if this was the Little League World Series, people would be checking his birth certificate.
I'm sure.
Because he looks like a 2 or 3 year NFL vet. He's just special.
He's just different. Yeah.
And his work ethic is nobody's working harder than him out there.
Okay.
And we got a bunch of guys that are working hard.
Yeah. I believe it, man. I have 3 players I want to ask you about, like, bing, bing, bing. So give me like the highlights. Mylan Graham.
He just got here.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't see any flashes. He might have done some stuff on the other field because I heard some people mention him. I mean, he looks good. He looks. A couple people have been saying he looks like Garrett Wilson. I don't agree with that. It's because
he's too small.
He's wearing number 5. I think he's thicker than Garrett Wilson.
Wilson was tall.
But Mylan Graham, he was a lot thicker than I anticipated.
Okay. Yeah. So people. Okay, I don't know. Everybody has their thing. So I've said all along JSN, so he reminds me of, but I've been wrong before. Okay, number 2, Ian Moore.
He's going to be good.
Okay, Jason Moore.
He's big boy. Jason Moore is. I don't know if you caught Jim Knowles' press conference today, but he pretty much the jack position's dead.
Okay,
he's like, we don't need to do it. He goes, I don't. He goes, we don't need to do it with these players.
Well, that explains the Justin Hill thing.
Yeah, and then he went another step further that he'd like to figure out a way to get 5 down linemen on the field. I can't help but to think that has to do with Jason Moore.
Oh, so run a 52. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I guess if you have Sonny and Cody on the back to clean it up, you could do that.
Yeah, I mean, you figure Cody's got that coverage experience, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You can almost play him almost like in a nickel.
Well, people forget Cody Simon, his freshman year, played Will.
Yeah.
He did. Like, he was an outside backer under the Kerry Combs era. I sent you that screenshot that I found about Cody Simon, from 2021, like when people were freaking out after we lost to Oregon.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it was
Anyways.
cool. So I'm there the next 2 days. I was told they're going to be in shells tomorrow, and I coming into this, I swear to God, I thought they were going to be in full pads on Sunday.
Yeah.
I was told this afternoon no, but I don't necessarily know if that's accurate. So regardless, I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be there Sunday, so I'll have a more of an update on Tuesday when we record again.
Okay. I had one other one I wanted to get to. Actually, two. If we'll do two, just quick hitters. G. Scott,
completely non-existent.
Okay.
Like I was thinking about that this afternoon before we were recording. I'm like, I can't remember a single time I saw G. Scott out there other than walking along the sideline before and after practice.
Okay. And then because I know that we're going to get asked, because I've already been asked, I was asked all week, twice already, and 3 times on Sunday, I think. Julian saying,
I mean,
body, and then your impression.
Here's what people need to remember about Julian Sayin. Julian Sayin is an 18-year-old true freshman, and his future is really, really bright. I mean, he made some plays. But he also struggled. Like you would expect a true freshman to struggle.
Yeah.
He does seem incredibly mature for his age when it comes to pocket awareness.
Okay.
And pocket presence. Mm-hmm. I think he throws the second best deep ball on the team behind Devon. I heard the daily podcast talking about BPS, ball placement specialist. There apparently were some flashes of that. He was on the far field today.
All right.
During some of the live sessions, and apparently flashed a little bit.
Okay.
I didn't see it on my field. I mean, he's a confident kid.
Yeah.
People got to stop acting like he could start for this team this year.
That I don't think that was even the question. The question was, do we see him as like QB3? Like, could he sneak up ahead of Lincoln Keenholz?
This is from positively, unequivocally QB3.
Okay, so
I will give him that.
Yeah, so that's from one of our active subscribers and followers, and they DM me on Twitter. So
QB3 absolutely. I'm starting to hear rumblings of QB2. I don't see it.
Mm-mm.
I just don't. And that's with the assumption that, I'll be honest with you, I'm just going to say it. Those are DB33 haters that are saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just defies all logic.
Yeah.
I mean, Will Howard is not pulling away from Devon Brown to the point that he could be named the starter tomorrow. So to suggest that Devon would go from, a neck and neck competition with Will to QB3, that's just silly. It's just hating.
So the last little bit, then I saved this for the very end. So Ryan Day quoted he'd like to have his decision made within 2 weeks on the starting quarterback. Do you think he has his decision made and he's just? I do not
think he has his decision made. That's the one thing I came away from. Now, a lot of people are going to say I'm being, rose-colored glasses because they know I'm pulling for Devon. I'm telling you, based on what I saw the last 2 days with my own eyes for the first time, there is no way that this is a cut and dry quarterback decision.
Okay.
They both do things really, really well differently than each other.
Yeah.
And they are both inconsistent right now.
So you and I are near the same age, and I remember very well, it was Bill Belichick that said, if you think you have 2 quarterbacks, you might have none.
I don't think that's the case. I feel 100% confident that we will win a national championship with Will or Devon.
Mm-hmm.
And I know everything that I just said is going to contradict this comment. I think we could make a run with Julian if something ridiculously tragic happened with both those guys.
Okay.
And that would be more about me trusting Chip and Ryan to call the right and really relying upon the run game.
Yeah.
But Every single quarterback in there is 1,000 times more mobile than Honda was last year.
Okay.
Every single one of them can run the RPO game, even Julian. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Julian's way more athletic than I think people. I think people were putting Julian in as being not as athletic because of his stature.
Okay. Yeah, he's shorter.
Julian's Julian's athletic. I mean, he can move.
Okay.
But all those guys look really, really good, and nobody looks categorically better than the next.
Okay. Well, I didn't ask you about Aaron Nolan, so we'll just I saw him signing some autographs and some videos and stuff,
I
but
think. Listen, I'm a big Aaron Nolan fan. He's a true freshman. That
yeah, that's
you know,
what I was getting at. So he and Julian are true freshmen. That I was just kind of lumping them
not
together.
all true freshmen are equal,
Yeah.
created equal. With this being said, though, I think on the first day, I think Air looked a lot better than what I heard that he looked like in the spring. I think he did check down a lot and really didn't take any risks. Same thing for Lincoln. Julian was like that day one. He was a little bit more, I guess, risky.
Mm.
He was a little more confident today with taking some shots
Okay.
than rather than just checking down. So
Well.
you had made a comment at the beginning that our running backs are going to eat and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. Like there's a lot of there were a lot of checkdowns that were completed that probably won't be there when you've got 11 guys on the field.
Okay. All right. Well, when you were talking about having to go through the third quarterback and stuff, I was thinking to myself about Friday Night Lights and don't worry, Mike Winchell. All you got to do is exist for the 2 seconds between the snap and handing Booby Miles the football. So that's what I flash back to, man. So when you have running backs like we do, I guess you could figure. And I mean, you look what Zeke did, and we were on our third quarterback then. So
Yeah.
things happen. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the practice report. I appreciate Dan going. He's living it up in Columbus, and I'm back in Ohio now, but I was stuck in
Yeah.
a terrible state of Michigan with people that are illogical. So, but anyways, we'll have more content for you. I'm not sure how Dan and I will work that out, but we'll work it out probably Tuesday, guys, to be honest. So, but if not, maybe we'll surprise everybody and do something fun. I don't know, but I hope you enjoyed the content. Thank you again, Dan, for everything. Any final thoughts that you want people to know?
No, man, I could talk for another hour. I don't know. Are you going to get this out before the morning?
I was going to have it come out at 8 a.m.
All right, I was just going to say if anybody catches it in that first hour and wants to comment and have me look for anything in particular.
Oh, I can drop it
Tomorrow.
tonight. It'll just be a little bit, but I can drop it tonight.
Do it in the morning because I'm also going to be there Sunday. So
you know what? I'll do it I'll have it drop at 7, and then I'll have time.
Yeah, and then
And I'll put a
if
thing in it.
Yeah. If you've watched this long, first of all, thank you.
Yeah,
You're a glutton for punishment. Secondly, if there's anything in particular you want me to look for during practice on Saturday and Sunday, just drop a comment.
All right, guys. Well, again, thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you're still stuck with us and you're still listening and you're really that much into this, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you as always, and stay safe. Enjoy your weekend. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.